have for you tonight in our newscast for Wednesday, November 20th, 2024.
Pro FC is here on Saturday, November 30th. Pro FC arrives at the Garden City Belmopan. Pro FC 14 Mundo versus Topsy inside the UB Gymnasium in the city of Belmopan. The main event is the lightweight championship fight between the defending champion Marvin Manley Mundo versus the dangerous Amel Topsy. We also have 9 other exciting MMA fights, including 2 more championship fights and a featured professional international MMA fight featuring the undefeated Frank Mac Vasquez. Doors open at 6:30 p.m. and the event starts at 7:30 p.m. sharp. General admission tickets are only $30 and VIP tickets are $80 available at the event ticket booth. Pro FC, Belize Premier MMA League. Pro FC 14 live exclusively on Centaur.
Pro FC 14 is brought to you by Smart, bringing people together, the Belmopan City Council, and Express Plus app, streaming entertainment.
Good evening. With your news also simulcast on Fiesta FM 106.7, I am Joanna Rodriguez. 2 men from the Old Capital have been charged in connection with the brazen armed burglary that took place on November 17, 2024 at the Corozal Commercial Free Zone. The men, along with 3 other individuals yet to be identified and detained, are accused of stealing more than 3 million Mexican pesos from a warehouse in the Corozal Commercial Free Zone belonging to Chinese businesswoman Mei Tang Chen. Quick police response on the same day of the burglary led to the detention of 2 men. They are Egbert Vernon, 46, and Joshua Wesby, 28, both identified as mechanics residing at number 31 Fabers Road, Belize City. The 2 men were jointly charged with burglary after evidence linked them to the crime. As mentioned, reports indicate the men held a security guard at gunpoint inside the warehouse. Surveillance footage obtained by CTV3 News painted a clearer picture of the criminal operation. The footage shows 5 men entering the warehouse, their identities concealed as they wielded flashlights in the darkened space. Their focus appears to be directed towards the counter area, immediately leading them to the significant sum of cash, which they stored in purses and plastic bags. The footage confirms they entered the facility at 2:07 a.m. and exited just 5 minutes later at 2:12 a.m. A fire broke out in the DFC neighborhood of San Pedro on the afternoon of Tuesday, November 19th, engulfing 3 homes and leaving the community in shock and distress. The blaze, which erupted around 2:30 p.m., just been confirmed by fire officials to be a result of arson, raising serious concerns about safety in the area. The fire quickly consumed a 2-story home, a 4-bedroom residence, and a small shop with an attached bedroom, totaling an estimated loss of $200,000. The owner of the affected properties has been identified as 47-year-old Sandra Isela Katsim. Witnesses reported suspicious activity prior to the fire. While firefighters from the San Pedro Fire Department arrived promptly, they faced a daunting scene. The San Pedro Police Department is actively investigating the fire and is calling for anyone with information to come forward. We understand that police have detained 1 person believed to have set the house on fire. The individual, a female, is believed to suffer from mental issues. In response to this alarming event, the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, is closely monitoring the situation and preparing to provide assistance to those impacted. As the community reels from the loss, local organizations are rallying to support those affected by the fire. Donations and assistance are urgently needed, and the call for unity echoes throughout the neighborhood. Katsim has made her contact number 631-2706 available for anyone willing to contribute to the recovery efforts. The United Democratic Party, UDP, finds itself embroiled in significant strife and uncertainty as a lawsuit changes the legitimacy of Tracy Panton, appointed interim leader following a tumultuous convention in October 2024. Panton was elected amidst a landscape of internal conflict, and the leadership battle has sparked renewed tensions among party members and loyalists. In an interview today, Shyne Barrow, the leader of the opposition, provided insights into the ongoing court proceedings that could determine the future direction of the UDP. Barrow's legal challenge questions not only the validity of Panton's appointment, but also the broader implications for the party, which has struggled to maintain unity in recent months.
The status quo ante has been established by Justice Honduras, which is returns to the way it was until he makes a decision in the case. And that's overall everything, the Guardian, the Wave, everything, even our UDP letterhead, which I see is still being, unauthorizedly used by the Alliance.
But there have been significant personnel changes in terms of the way the organs are now being run.
It has been, to be clear, we're looking at the Joe Alfonso situation, because I'm here to bring the party together. I'm here to heal and here to reconcile, as long as people accept the status quo, accept who the leader is, who the leadership executive, the duly elected leadership executive is. So we're looking at how we can work with Joe Alfonso. So you hear that here first. So there has not been a termination letter sent. It was definitely something that was contemplated based on the outburst that Fonzo had and different things that they did, but we're looking to see how we can incorporate them into the new structures of the Guardian. And when they try to say, oh, the judge was just talking about property, the judge is seized as to everything, because you can't make the application to the judge without telling the judge everything, the application that we initially wanted, which was the ex parte. So the judge has full understanding of all that is happening, and if he felt that they would have been irreparably damaged by returning things to the status quo, he could have made a decision to say, well, you know what, nobody going at the property, because this is not a normal property case. This has ramifications beyond, and this is a legal issue that is considered a political issue.
Coming up next, Belize's Foreign Minister Francis Fonseca joins India CARICOM Summit to strengthen bilateral ties and cooperation. Stay tuned.
Project, it's a vanilla training for the west and the southern part of the country, which is being funded by the Taiwan mission in Belize. Our focus is to diversify, to find ways to diversify the economic base of Belize. And we had identified that there may be some competitive advantage in the vanilla sector. While Belize doesn't have much production right now, there seems to be an interest in the international market for Belize gourmet vanilla bean. And we identified for the south, which is Bella Vista, to implement it, because we found out, first of all, that they have a quite good history in implementing projects. We're training 30 women, okay, and girls. A partnership with the school, with the high school, where they're bringing in at least a little less than half of the persons that will be trained are young girls, youth.
Vanilla is native to Toledo District. It is easy to grow. It can be grown in the backyard. It requires no special skill. You don't have to go far off to a plantation to do it. So it really lends itself to rural what we call home gardens. And is a way to generate income for households.
The demand towards women is so high. The expectations are high and the rewards are always low, especially to the members. Those who will be taking this course, take advantage of it, work hard. In 2022, when that email came to me, at no point I ever think that we will have this opening of this training in Bay of Statutory in my village. When I took that initiative, I did it right away. You know why? Because I did it for the betterment and the progress and the development of our beautiful country, Belize.
Belize has made a significant milestone with Major Gilbert Swazo's appointment to the Executive Board of the Caribbean Association of Ombudsman. This position aims to enhance collaboration and strengthen the impact of Ombudsman offices in promoting justice and accountability within the region. Today, Swazo spoke about his role as a board member and what it means for Belize.
After we have deliberated, it was time to elect the new representatives of the Korowa Executive Board. And I may state here and now that it was at that point that the Dr. Nigel Taylor, who recently visited Belize just last week, was elected to be the president. And I was also elected to be a board member of the association as well.
In his speech, Swazo emphasized the importance of transparency in fulfilling his responsibilities, ensuring that his office adheres to best practices in governance and accountability.
So the appointment onto Korowa board will then mean then that the responsibility shifted a bit, where that instead of just looking at Belize, so being a member of the board, we now have the responsibility to ensure that all member states of CARICOM and the small island states, we now will have to look at that from a larger perspective to ensure that we strengthen the office of the Ombudsman within the respective jurisdictions, and also to ensure that fairness, justice, and human rights prevail in a uniform, almost standardized way based on the realities of the respective countries. So it is indeed an honor, and I'm very humbled to be elected to that position. So it gives me a responsibility for us to then learn and share for the interests of the citizens of the respective jurisdictions.
Despite this progress, Swazo noted that Belize is still lacking a National Human Rights Institute, which would be crucial for securing international recognition and safeguarding the rights of citizens.
Aligning ourselves to ensure that we achieve our objectives as under the Sustainable Development Goal, and in this case, particularly, it is now agreed and approved that the National Human Rights Institute will be lodged in the office of the Ombudsman. That being confirmed and approved, then we now are in the process of ensuring that we do what is necessary to have this institute established and ensure that we have best practices, and we have to also ensure that it is Paris Principle compliant. That is also important. What does that mean? It means then that the National Human Rights Institute must be independent of the government, right? With such independence guaranteed either by statutory law or by the Constitution. So we are doing we will be doing shortly a legislative review to look at the Ombudsman Act, that is Chapter 5 of the Substantive Laws of Belize. So we look at that to see how we can complement that act to ensure now that we have regulations, that we have laws that will ensure that it is conforming with the promotion and protection of human rights as prescribed by international law.
The establishment of such an institute remains a key objective for the government, and it is anticipated that steps will be taken to create it in the near future. In a significant move towards enhancing justice and accountability, Dr. Nigel Taylor, the Ombudsman of Barbados, recently visited Belize, accompanied by his investigator, Dr. Michael Sabzan. The visit aimed to bolster cooperation between the offices of the Ombudsman in both countries. During his visit, Dr. Taylor engaged in a productive dialogue with Belize's Ombudsman, Major Gilbert Swazo. The two officials explored a range of topics, including best practices, innovative strategies, and potential solutions for common challenges faced by their respective mandates. Dr. Taylor expressed admiration for the progress made by the Office of the Ombudsman of Belize, noting its effectiveness and the important strides taken in upholding human rights within the country. The discussions held between the two ombudsmen underscored the importance of collaboration in tackling issues of justice and accountability, especially in the context of emerging regional challenges. Dr. Taylor highlighted the potential benefits of adopting Belize's best practice model, suggesting that such integration could enhance both offices' effectiveness in advocating for citizens' rights. In light of the fruitful exchanges during the visit, a pivotal meeting is scheduled for Friday, August 8, where a Human Rights Committee will convene to discuss the way forward for Belize.
Well, Friday, we will be having the first National Human Rights Committee meeting where we will be certainly passing on to the committee members what the roles, responsibilities of the executive committee is. And then we will then be suggesting a way forward, taking into consideration that consultations were made before, but now, because this committee is now fully established, we now have the responsibility to ensure that we chart a realistic way forward, given a reasonable time, so that then we can establish a human rights institute which will have the buy-in of all human rights operators, the general public, and more so to ensure that the legislation will do what the Paris Principle is expecting of us to do.
This meeting represents a commitment to not only maintain but also enhance the collaborative efforts between the two offices aimed at upholding justice across the region. The United Democratic Party, UDP, currently in disarray, may have a reason to celebrate today. Despite the ongoing fragmentation within the party, its leader and head of the opposition, Shyne Barrow, is basking in the success of his new documentary released on Hulu. The documentary, which dives into the political landscape of Belize, including criticisms of the People's United Party, PUP, has catapulted to the top of viewer charts, currently holding the #1 spot on the streaming platform. It's the #1 documentary on Hulu, and I couldn't be prouder of what we've accomplished, Barrow proclaimed during an interview as he reflected on the documentary's release.
Well, it's the #1 film show on Hulu worldwide, so I'm extremely grateful for that. Thank you to everyone out there that has supported the Honorable Shyne documentary to make it #1. So extremely grateful for the reception that we've gotten so far, especially in Belize. There are a lot of people that did not know the Shyne story, and because I'm a political figure, the PUP has done an effective job. I think that's the only thing I could say they've done an effective job at in their tenure in this administration. But even before that, a narrative has been crafted about Shyne Barrow that, as you can see in the documentary, for those of you that have seen it, whether hearing from my father himself, hearing from my mother, that I did not grow up with even a bronze spoon in my mouth and come from a single parent household and everything that I have. I had to endure great suffering and sacrifice to get there. But from a political opponent's standpoint, that's not a story that they would want to tell, right?
In the documentary, Shyne also highlights the tensions between his father, former Prime Minister of Belize, Shyne Barrow.
Many people that don't know the truth, and so I actually am grateful that we have such a strong relationship despite our disagreements on many policy matters, which is the beauty of relationships and the beauty of having the father that I have, that is not a micromanager, that is not someone that has manufactured my life. Everything you see, with the help of God and the help of many people, including my father, he has given advice. Michael Finnegan has given advice. Everyone has contributed somehow, but my father and I don't share the relationship where I am reading off a script that he wrote, or he's over there pulling strings and jumping in front of buses to save me. He pretty much, stands by, and if I ask for advice, sometimes I don't even take the advice that he gives me, and he cuss me out and tell me why I asked me for advice and you're not listening. But we love each other still, and I believe one of the things that I decided a long time ago is to love my father and my mother and honor them with no expectation for any return. My blessings would come from the heaven, and so I treat with my mom and my dad in a fashion where I just love them. They're my parents, and my father and I have healed and reconciled. And as I said, we still get into our disagreements as far as politics and policy, but that aside, our relationship is better than ever, and that is why he's even in the documentary, because if you know him, he doesn't need to be a part of anything, and he's well off and accomplished, and he's...
The new biography on the life of Shyne Barrow, titled The Honorable Shyne, premiered on Hulu. This compelling documentary explores the journey of the former hip-hop artist who transitioned into a political career, highlighting key moments in his life, including his ascent to the music industry, a decade-long imprisonment, his deportation to Belize, and his subsequent foray into politics. On Friday, Prime Minister John Brissenden gave his insights on Shyne's latest project.
Unfortunately for him, he is not running in the United States. He is running in Belize. And I don't think he's getting any kind of coverage. The coverage that he's getting in Belize, let's put it this way, is not coverage that any leader would want to get. But again, timing. It just so happened that PDD has been arrested for a lot of alleged crimes, sexual and drugs and all kind of stuff. And Shyne was a part of that world. So I don't know if he was part of that, but it just so happened that he, according to him, I don't think he said it back then during that time, that he took the fall for PDD. It's good marketing for him. He's taking advantage when a man is down. PDD is down. I know he's stepping on him to try to lift his profile. You don't usually do that. I could have been doing that to him every day, and I don't. But it's good theater for him, and I'm happy for him, and he could continue doing that in the United States, because that's the life he wants. He doesn't want to be here in Belize. He wants to be in the United States of America. The minute he became the leader of the opposition, the first thing he did, he asked the Black Caucus in Congress to ask him if they could support him getting a visa. And as soon as he got his visa, he pretty much is more in the U.S. than here. And good for him. I have no envy for him. I don't envy him. I am happy to be in Belize. Belize is my home. This is the only home I've ever had. No plan to go anywhere. Will I see the documentary when it becomes available? Of course, I'll look at it and then see how they have spin things. And I'm sure that if the producers were to come and and interview the people that were praising him back then, I'm sure you'd get a different picture, but they probably know that by now.
Today, Barrow responded to the Prime Minister's comment.
I'm happy that you'll be tuning in to watch the documentary
With his popcorn.
with his popcorn, and I hope he enjoys it. And this is all of our story. He had a father who had made some mistakes, and so I'm sure he should celebrate the resilience of all of us, and second chances and criminal justice reform, which I know Attorney General Anthony Sylvester has been a champion of.
And there is more news after the break. Stay tuned.
This is my first visit to Belize as foreign minister, but my fourth overall. I first came here 20 years ago. Taiwan and Belize have many things in common, and we both cherish peace and uphold the values of freedom, democracy, the rule of law, and respect for human rights. And based on these solid foundation of common ideals and mutual interests, our friendship has continued to flourish for 35 years. The government of Taiwan, in response to Prime Minister Briceño's request during his visit to Taiwan in May, has agreed to provide financial support for the reconstruction of Beacon Bridge in Belize City. We understand that this is a pressing issue concerning the city's transportation safety.
Taiwan has proven over those 35 years to be a very valuable partner and very consistent partner and ally and friend of Belize's development. So we're very happy to welcome Minister Lin and his delegation to Belize.
Relationship between countries starts with personal friendships. And once you build that personal friendship, then you start to build on top of that.
Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade Francis Fonseca is representing Belize at the second India-CARICOM Summit in Guyana. The India-CARICOM Summit brings together leaders from India and the Caribbean community CARICOM to explore ways of enhancing bilateral ties. Prime Minister Narendra Modi presented 7 key pillars aimed at deepening cooperation and addressing shared global challenges. As part of this effort, India will expand its ITEC scholarship program by adding 1,000 new slots over the next 5 years. Modi also announced plans to collaborate with CARICOM countries to develop forensic centers and improve parliamentary training, further solidifying India's role as a development partner. Agriculture was highlighted as another critical area of collaboration, with Modi emphasizing India's commitment to helping strengthening agricultural infrastructure and ensure food security in the Caribbean region. Modi underscored India's ongoing support to CARICOM countries, including vaccine distribution and capacity building efforts. In other news, Belize officially opened its High Commission office in the Cooperative Republic of Guyana on Tuesday. This is according to an ex-post by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. It said FM Fonseca, accompanied by Mr. Mai and His Excellency Gail Miller Garnett, officially opened Belize's High Commission in the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. FM Fonseca spoke of the strong relations with Guyana and the importance of forging ties with CARICOM. Earlier in June, the Belize flag was hoisted at the Chancellery of the High Commission of Belize in the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, marking the commencement of its operations. The event was led by High Commissioner Gail Miller Garnett and attended by Belize Defense Force members studying in Guyana. While in Guyana, Foreign Affairs Minister Francis Fonseca, in his capacity as Minister of Education, met with Belizeans studying in Guyana. The students, who are primarily pursuing programs in medicine and law, spoke to their experience and progress living and studying there. And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Thursday, November 21st here on CTV3 News and Face FM 106.7. Remember that to read a text version of the news, you can visit our website at ctv3belizenews.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/ctv3belizenews or our YouTube channel at CTV3 News BZ. From all of us here at CTV3 News, thank you for watching and listening. Good night.